in my final paper, I'm going to talk about the uncanny and how the uncanny creates fear and anxiety for the characters in the Masque of the Red Death. The title of my paper is The Uncanny Double of the Masque Unknown and its Horrifying Effect in this story. And this story is a short story by Edgar Allan Poe, if you have never read it. In the story, there is a plague, the Red Death, that is inflicting a kingdom and the people. And in this kingdom, there's a group of noblemen who decide to hide in a castle-like abbey. They fortify it, so they won't be infected by the sick people outside the general public. However, one day a mysterious figure with a mask appears in the abbey, inside the abbey, presumably the incarnation of the Red Death, the disease itself. And when the angry nobleman remove the stranger's mask, there's nothing behind. And so of course they then die one after another later. So with this story, my thesis is symbolizing the imminent threat of an epidemic outbreak. The masked being in the story causes the uncanny feeling of terror through its boundary-breaking doubleness. And I use Julia Kristeva's theory of the abject to further discuss my point. This theory is originally based on the feelings an infant may have when it is psychologically and physically separated from the maternal body, its mother. But I don't have time to explain it all. So in short, first of all, the abject is an ambiguous state that doubles as both part of the self and yet other than the self. So without a concrete form, it is something that is both part of yourself and yet not you. And therefore, it threatens to transgress and destroy the self-outer boundary of the subjective structure. So within the structure of people's subjective consciousness, there is always a boundary between self and other, between you and me. But the presence of this particular object, being both me and not me at the same time, goes beyond and destroys this boundary. Thus, so the object preoccupies and terrorizes the subject with its uncanny effect. And according to Kristeva, this theory holds true not only in terms of individual consciousness, but also in the social sphere, and actually in many other spheres. But my focus here is the social sphere. That is the subjective structure of a group of people. I will explain how I apply this theory to the story. So next I want to first talk about the self-outer boundary in the story. So in the story, there's a line drawn between the healthy nobles who are inside the abbey and the sick public outside the abbey. So the nobles in the abbey, the temple-like buildings, differentiate themselves from the sick public outside. Thus, the mentality is that as a subjective whole, the healthy nobles inside the abbey becomes the self, while the sick people outside become the other. There's difference. And in this way, the subjectivity of the group of noblemen is formed. However, the fear of the plague lingers in the air throughout the story, and is eventually somehow materialized as the mask being itself. So, point 5, I want to talk about the presence of the unknown, which is a fear-inducing threat to the boundary that the nobleman set. So first of all, the masked being of the Red Death is an distinct presence, is a double. So in the story, this being suddenly appears with a mask. It has human shape, but no one really know what it is. And then secondly, so it becomes an uncanny threat to the self-outer boundary of the wall abbey, because the nobles finally realize that the being is actually the plague, the Red Death itself. In this way, with its human form and its presence inside the abbey, the being transgresses the boundary the nobles they try so hard to establish. And it has become a threat, a destructive horror, I think. And moreover, finally, behind the mask is nothingness, the ultimate uncanniness. When the mask being finally reveals itself, there's nothing behind the mask, and just nothingness. And this I think is the ultimate form of uncanny. No boundary, nothing whatsoever to define or to grasp. It thus endangers great anxiety and fear with its uncanny effect. And in my conclusion, finally, I also want to maybe just BTW want to point out that the general public fear of the uncanny effects of the pandemics, because that's what gives me the inspiration to write this. We are of course very afraid of SARS and the bird flu, but I think a major part of the fear comes from the uncanny feeling we may experience during the period of outbreak. As a healthy person, we set a clear boundary between ourselves and those who are infected during the period. But you never know whether the one sitting next to you wearing a mask on the bus is infected or not. So, and I think that's uncanny and that's terrifying. So, thanks for your attention.